Good afternoon, fans, and welcome to LB Gym here in Fredericton. I'm Bill Gibson. You're watching Tommy's TV on YouTube, ACAA TV, which is powered by Sports Canada TV. And it's got men's basketball action here on tap. Visiting Mount Allison Mounties come into this one in sixth place in the conference at 2-5, taking on the first place in host St. Thomas Tommies, who sit at 7-1. The Tommies ranked 7th in the country. UNBSJ, the other Atlantic team, ranked at 9, all behind Southern Alberta Institute of Technology, who was ranked first. Both teams coming off a loss. The Tommies, their first loss of the season, right here last Saturday to UNBSJ. UNBSJ really used the fourth quarter in that one. Was a 34-23 fourth quarter advantage for SJ. They shot 65% in that fourth quarter. Turnover's an issue for the Tommies. In the game, the Tommies had 20, St. John 15. In the fourth quarter, the Tommies 7 of those 20, and St. John 1. St. John also made a little bit more hay from the free throw line, plus 6 free throws made for the game. Leading scorers, Darren Clark, 25 points, 6 rebounds for SJ. Ethan Zamurda, 24 and 8. Lance Howlett added 20 points. Danger if he gets scoring at that level for other clubs around the conference. Tommy's Vince Littleton, 19. Marcus Wilson, 14. And Mount A, they got beaten by the 6-2 Mount St. Vincent University Mystics. They are tied in second place in the conference with UNBSJ at that 6-2 record. It was 111-77 for the Mystics in a game that was 24-23 at half by the stats. 88 points in the second half for MSVU. League's leading scorer, Isaiah Cromwell-Wright, had 34. Averages 24. Adam Callahan had 25. The shooting caper Callahan. Jonas Monroe, 12 points. Lance Momberquette, 15 points, 9 boards, and 5 assists. Mounties were playing without a full deck in that one. Usual starter Ryan Norris not available in that, and it looks like he's not available in this one as well. Pick up the starters here for Mount A. Number 5 is Lance Momberquette, third year of eligibility, 6'3" wing out of Fredericton, former CBU player. 6 is Jonas Monroe, the captain, fifth year, 6'5" out of Moncton. 7 is Brennan Deverex. Deverex, second year out of Harrison Trimble and Riverview. 13 is Christian Hager. Hager, first year of eligibility, 6'5" guard out of Brantford. And 23 is Jackson Wark, rookie out of Sussex. Tommy starters already being introduced. 3 is Vince Littleton. 5 is Marcus Wilson. 9 is Evan Villain. 10 is CJ Hansen. And 21 is the big man, Jevin Eddy. Eddy, 6'5" forward out of Ajax, Ontario. Averages 13.8 points and 7.1 rebounds per game. Tommy's leading scorer is Marcus Wilson, who averages an even 20. That puts him second in the league to the aforementioned Isaiah Cromwell-Wright of Mount St. Vincent. Other games going on this weekend, UKC at Holland, and a big matchup in Halifax. The Seawolves out of St. John and Mount St. Vincent. That will go a long way, those two games today and tomorrow, in sorting out the standings, or maybe it won't, maybe they'll split, who knows. See how things go. I'm expecting the Tommies to come out flying in this one. And there's the first 2 points, Eddy, from Wilson. Hager against Hansen, looking inside. Deverex back outside for Wark. Jackson Wark, no good there. Rebound, Villain. Villain finds Hansen. Hansen on a push. Down low for Eddy. Eddy scores it over Monroe. One of the things that this Mount A club doesn't have, they have decent size. They don't really have a true big. And there's Monroe with a triple. So Eddie with 4, Monroe with 3 here in the first minute of play.
Wilson into traffic. Called for a travel. And time to talk about the gray unis in this one. It is Misters Joel Everett, Dan Wilton, and Dave McGrattan. The 3 in gray charged with making sure all goes according to Hoyle and the official rules of basketball. In other words, they're the officials. Villain for Littleton. No good. Villain fights for the rebound, but it's into the hands of Deverex. Deverex lays one up, and it's 5-4 Mount A. Hansen taken away by Deverex. And there's Littleton with the takeaway. Hansen for Eddie. Lob up for Hansen. Can't finish it. And there is a finish on this end. That's Mom Burkett who gets that one to go, and it's 7-4 Tommies. Little simpler play for Mount A. The lane kiss off the window, doesn't go. Eddie on the offensive board. For a bounce pass inside for Hansen. Nobody sticking a fork in that one. We got a jump ball. Possession Mount A. These teams met once before. It was back on November 15th at Mount A. It was 106-68 STU. STU got out to a 32-12 lead after the first quarter and didn't look back from that. Marcus Wilson, 21 points, 7 boards. CJ Hansen, 16 points, 5 boards. And it was Moreau, 17 points, 9 rebounds. Simba Bawara, 16 and 8. There's Littleton on the drive. Rebound for Wark. We'll mention up front, folks, that I've been fighting the same plague that's been going around here, I think, with half of the folks in the workplace. All week. In fact, today is my first time out of the house since Tuesday. So I'll be taking a few more breaks there, and if you hear me go on mute, that's probably to get a little drink of water or clear the throat a little bit. And that tie up there on the floor, Wark and Littleton. Wark is a rookie. He's a guy that you have to love the style of play. Hard-nosed, doesn't give up on anything. And Littleton said something there in the coming up out of the pile that the referees didn't like. One of those George Carlin words. 7 things you can't say on the basketball court. And picked up the technical as a result of that. First foul on Littleton. And I'll also say up front, because of the cold that I'm just getting over, I didn't go down and visit the coaches pregame, just one to preserve the voice, make sure I make it through today, although I'm feeling much better. Make sure I keep that as alive as possible. And 2, just in case there's anything lingering, which I could spread around, I just want to limit that exposure for coaches, players, those who are actually involved in the game. I definitely do not want to be the cause of anyone getting ill and having to miss some action. It's Caleb Cholton who checked in for this game, and on the inside it is Eddie drawing the foul going to the line. Eddie gets to the free throw line a lot and shoots it at a pretty prolific percentage. 38 free throw attempts. That's now 39 on the season. Shoots it at just about an 80% clip. First sub in, it is Bawara. in for Deverex. Simabawara across campus here at UNB. There's Monbriquet. Can't get it to go off the glass, can't get the putback to go. And there's Eddie, who collects the rebound. Hansen for Wilson. Down low, Eddie. Eddie looking for Wilson on the cut. And there's a score at the other end. (9-6) Mount A. Belane into the post for Eddie. Eddie called for the offensive foul on Monroe. First one on Jevin. Monbriquet against Eddie. And that's going to be the second on Eddie as Wark with the finish. That's going to force Eddie out of the game. Zach Dual River lands in for the Tommies. 6 and 8 number-wise. Wark with the make. Wark out of Sussex High School. And there's Wilson to the lane, no good. Wark on the rebound off for Hager. There's Monbriquet for Bawara. Mount A up 8, 14-6. Thing I thought the Tommies had trouble with last weekend was AJ Nash penetration and ability to score, dish. Nash, a big guard, and not quite the same player, but can be the same type of player when I look at this Mount A squad as Monbriquet, and that was Monbriquet with the dish down here on the end where Eddie picked up the foul. I think Lance has got a potential to be a problem here for the Tommies if he gets into that distributor role for Mount A. And there is Monbriquet on the drive and looking for Wark on the baseline. That's out of bounds. It's one of, I think, the challenges with this Mountie squad is there's 4 guys out there who really like to have the ball in their hands, and that's Bawara, Monbriquet, Hager, and Monroe. And there's Riverlands with the putback, an and one opportunity. And how do they split that up on offense? The other one being, I think, size defensively. Not that they're undersized, but you match up with a big like Eddie and some of the others around the conference. A bit challenging as Lance makes. Checking in Mount A, Kwame Asidu. Asidu, second-year guard out of Surrey, BC. And there's Bawara on the spin. And Bawara doesn't get it to go. Little kick there on that drive for an open shooter. Might have been a good choice as well. And again, there is Evan Villain taking it to the bucket. And a foul on the 6'1" Kwame Asidu. Villain, another strong season for the Tommies, a 5th-year player out of Miramichi Valley, 6'3" wing. 13.3 points, 6.3 boards, and 3 assists. 69% free throw shooter. Hasn't been shooting much from beyond the arc, only 2 of 7 from deep on the season. Bawara again to the rim, and again a miss. A little maybe too much individual there for Bawara. He gets into that paint and drops it off. Might be a better look. Not that I got a problem with either one of the shots, just it's a great move and then a high level of difficulty on the try to finish. STU, who was on the offensive boards. And we're now tied at 15 as the Tommies erase that 8-point lead fairly quickly. Duel beyond the arc, back rim, rebound Wilson. Wilson loses the handle out of bounds. It will be Tommy's ball. Wilson rises from the elbow. No good. Rebound on the offensive glass are the Tommies. Duel for Villain against Monroe. Looking for Wilson inside, ends up back in the hands of Villain, who gets one to bounce over the front of the rim for 2 points. Mombricat gets inside, and his shot doesn't go. Villain left that well short. Monroe on the kick out from Bawara. Too good a shooter to leave open like that. Monroe's going to knock that down more times than not. Schulten inside. Kicks to Lands, and Lands is going to knock that down more times than not. Hanson Littleton back in for Stu. Looks like we got some movement here for the Mounties as well. It's number 15, Gabe Powder, who is checked in. Just had to wait for Powder to turn around. Mount A unis are not my favorites. They're dark numbers on black is tough. There's Mombricat tickling the twine for 2. Hanson on the miss off the glass is Lands, and now Schulten on the drive for 2 points. Bawara out of bounds on the far side. Lands tries another triple. Hanson on the glass. Tommies working the offensive glass with regularity. And River Lands makes the triple. 25-21 Tommies, and even 2 minutes to go here in the quarter. The 8-point Mountie lead, now a 4-point deficit. Big swing for the Tommies here in Q1. And offensive glass has been a big part of it. An opportunity here to look at some of the stats coming into this game. Tommies second in the conference, 96.9 points per game. Mount A 6 at 75, so a 21-point differential in scoring. Points per game against. The Tommies give up 80. Mount A gives up 90, so minus 15 for Mount A, plus 6 for the Tommies. Tommies first in field goal percentage, first in three-point field goal percentage, first in free throw percentage. Mount A 4th in field goal percentage, 7th is last in the conference in 3-point field goal percentage, and 6th in free throw percentage. Turnovers, the Tommies turned it over more than they'd like at 16 plus a game. Mount A only 13 times a game. Tommies turn over the opposition fairly well, though, at just about 16 a game, and the Mounties at about 12. Riverland showing here early why he's in top 5 in the conference in 3-point field goal percentage. Cam Evans in for the Tommies. Evans wearing number 12. Bawara, 3. Littleton rises. 3, no good. Rebound inside. Powder. Ahead for STU. Monroe makes the 3. Lands and Evans can't connect on the break. Turnover over to Mount A. Monbriquette gets inside, draws the foul. And even though I think Monbriquette was going to pass out of there, he's going to get the shooting foul. Regardless, Tommies are in bonus situation. Monbriquette to make. 1:09 to go in the quarter. I'll go through the first quarter stats between quarters. Monroe fights for the rebound, out of bounds off of Tommy. Schulten with a little shimmy shake. Littleton can't make the 3. Monbriquette lost the handle on the shot on the way up and now lands at the other end. Can't get it to go. Hansen doesn't get the follow to go. Travel called on Bawara. Monroe out. Hudson McGregor, first-year player at the North Nova Educational Center in Churchville, Nova Scotia. 6'4" forward, wearing number 3, checks in. Lands with a miss. Asidu ahead for Bawara. Bawara draws a foul, will go to the line. That's going to be a foul on Littleton. And here comes Marcus Wilson in for Vince Littleton. 2 fouls in the first quarter. Vince is going to have to sit down. Jackson Warwick set to check back in as well. Bawara good on the first. Bawara to Surrey, BC. Here UNB as mentioned, and Holy Cross Regional. 14.3 points per game, 7.5 boards, and an assist and a half a game for Bawara. Hansen tips the rebound to himself, dribbles it up the court, finally stopped by Powder. Tommy's reset. Wilson, 8 seconds to shoot. Wilson gets it back from Evans with 4 to shoot. Looking inside for Evans. Take away Bawara, long shot. Mount A 29, Tommies 25 after the first quarter. Mount A 20 points on 10 of 20 shooting. That's 50%. Coming into this one, the Tommies second in the conference, allowing 39% field goal percentage. Mount A at 50 after one. Mount A 4 of 5 on three-pointers, 5 of 8 from the free throw line. Tommies 25 points, 9 of 25. So 5 more shots, but have made 1 less. 2 of 10 three-pointers, that's a big difference there in proficiency. Tommy shooting at only 20%. Beyond the arc, Tommy's perfect 5 of 5 from the line. Each team 6 turnovers and 6 points off turnovers. Rebounds are close. Assists favor Mount A 8-5. Points in the paint favor the Tommies 14-10. Offensive rebounding, Tommies have 7 to only 4 for Mount A. 7 offensive rebounds in a quarter is a lot. Individual stats, Mount A led by Jonas Monroe already with 9 points. Simba Bawara off the bench for 6. Mombriquette 5, Wark 3. Asidu, Deverex, Hager 2 each. Rebounds, it is Wark with 3 leading the way. And fouls, Wark with 2, Hager with 2. For the Tommies, River Lands has 12 already. 4 of 6 field goals, 2 of 4 from three-point land, and 2 of 2 from the line. Eddie has 6 points, Villain 5, Schulten 2. That's the Tommy scoring. Rebounds, 4 for Eddie. And foul trouble, Eddie has 2. And Littleton should be up there for 2 as well because the technical counts as personal. So the online stats have Littleton only as 1, but I am certain that is 2 on Littleton. Tommy's back to the starters to start this quarter. And for Mount A, they are not. There's Hansen on the steal, and Hansen fouled by Bawara. Mounties go with Bawara, Monroe, Powder. Who else is out there? McGregor. And is that a Asidu tying his shoe? I think so. Yes. Hansen knocks him down to tie us at 29. McGregor off for Monroe. Monroe into the paint, 2 points. Jonas been a good scorer ever since he entered this league. I'm privileged to call 5 seasons, maybe more with COVID of Jonas's action. Tommy turnover, it's over to Mount A. Inside for Powder, out Bawara. Pardon me, that was Asidu, I think, on the drive. Challenged a little bit with the light in the gym and those dark numbers on the jerseys, and the players are coming at you. The numbers on the front I challenged a little bit. Tommy's with another score. That's Bawara, STU. Back for Bawara. Moving screen there on Powder. Briquette back in. Wilson, tough finish off glass for 2 points. And Monroe back the other way. Oh, a little too strong off the glass. Ahead now for Wilson. Wilson kicks out for Littleton. Littleton gets one to go over the front rim. Going to be Evan Villain called for a foul. Jack Gibby in for CJ Hansen for the Tommies. Gibby will match up against McGregor. Eddie with the pick off ahead for Wilson. Dunk finish for Marcus Wilson. Quickly back the other way is Mounay. Monroe elevates. Left that short. Two to shoot. And nice finish for Monroe, who thought he should be going to line for the extra one. Down low, Eddie. Eddie called for another offensive foul. Second one Monroe stood in, and that's going to be the third foul on Eddie. Sam quick on the action with the towel, wipe up the little perspiration situation there. Monroe rises. That rimmed out, rebound Wilson. Wilson to the glass, and it's going to be and one. That's going to go on. Number 13, that's Hager. That's going to be his third. And Wilson with the make. Warwick, corner kick back outside Hager. There's Briquette. From 13 feet, spinner, no good. Mullane kicks, looking for Lands. Wilson, another finish off the glass. Three at the other end, Deverex. Lands, high degree of difficulty shot. Monroe on the rebound, hands it off to Warwick. And Lands will pick up the foul. If you're a Mounties fan, you just have to be falling in love here with the rookie of Warwick. If you haven't already, there's no give in Warwick's game. Just an absolute sandpaper guy, if you know what I'm saying. This is a shot clock discussion in terms of what this should be set at. .24 after the foul, I think. Warwick with the Mounties down 4 puts the ball into play. Gonna be out off of Powder on the entrance attempt from Deverex. Verlaine for Lands. Miss on the triple, but it's Schulten there to clean up the mess. Little custodian act for Caleb Schulten. Burkett kicks for Deverex. Deverex fakes, drives, ended up with a tough shot. And it's Schulten working the boards, kicks for Wilson. Wilson drives, can't get it to go. Good job by Hager just to stand ground there and not pick up a foul. Loose ball knocked out by Mount A. It will stay Tommy's ball with, the clock kept running. That should be 6 seconds on the shot clock with the Tommies inbounding. Shouldn't be a fresh clock. Should be at 6. And there should be a little bit more on the game clock because the clock didn't stop. Seven, I'll buy that. Yeah, it was right at 6 when I looked up. And that was after the whistle had already gone, so I'm good with 7. And there's Wilson, doesn't need them all anyway. Tommy's up 8. Mounties need a score here. Can't let the Tommies an opportunity to get up double digits. Hager from 15. Can't give it to them. Inside rebound. Monbriquet can. Warwick gambled for the steal. Wilson catch and makes the 3. 9-point Tommy lead. Hager gets duel on the ground. Ends up with a high degree of difficulty shot. Block called. And I think that ends up on Verlaine. It's going to be his second. Middleton and Hansen in for Verlaine and Schulten. Hager 9.6 points, 60% free throw shooter, knocks in the second. Hanson and Littleton. Not reading from the same book there. Hanson thought Littleton was going to fade on that and ends up throwing the ball out of bounds. Hager on the drive score, the end one, foul on Riverlands. Quinn DeVries in for Stu. DeVries wears number 11. Wilson rises, shoots. No good, rebound Monroe. Off for Montbriquet. Hager for Monroe. That's a three, and it's going to be 3 shots. DeVries too aggressive on the closeout. Will send Monroe to the line. Monroe, 16 points a game, 8.3 boards, and a 70% free throw shooter. Don't be surprised that he knocks down all 3 of these. Shooter's roll on that one. Nice soft touch off the rim. Clean on the second. Third one doesn't go, but if you're going to miss one, make it the one where your team can get the offensive rebound off of. First foul on Hanson. I'll send Montbriquet to the line again. Tommy's over the limit here in the quarter of fouls. And Mountie sitting at 3. Montbriquet makes the second. Hanson, step back 3. Makes it. Tommy's lead back to 5. Wark for Hager. Feet in the way of the dribble that time. Hager loses it out of bounds. Wilson, no good. DeVries got a touch on the rebound, ends up in the hands of Montbriquet. Montbriquet with the tricky dribble. Finds Monroe, back to Montbriquet. Hands off for Wark. Monroe, baseline jumper is good. One possession, 3-point contest. Littleton can't get it to go. DeVries crashes the board. Foul on Monroe, called not on the shot, on the floor. Here comes Villain and lands for DeVries and Duel. And here comes a Sea-Doo for Hager. Wilson lands. Good Mountie defense, forcing the Tommies way away from the bucket. Wilson on the drive to beat the beat the shot clock. Can't get it to go. Almost said the three-point buzzer for some reason. That'll be a new thing that I just invented for the rules of basketball, the three-point buzzer. Jackson Warwick calling off here. Certainly he's got a broken bone if he wants off the floor. He's just a little cramp or something, actually. Duel and DeVries back in for Tommies on the defensive end. Here comes Hager in for STU. Final minute of play, 45.8 seconds in fact left first half. Tommies up 3. Score here would be big, and Montbriquet rises, gives it to the Mounties. A 1-point game. Can Mount A get a stop? High score in first quarter, both teams over 50. It's going to be another foul on Littleton. That's going to be his third. Caleb Scholten in. Loose ball foul on Littleton, and that technical foul Littleton pick up, costing him big time minutes on the court. Mount A trying to argue that they wanted free throws there, but it was Stu ball possession. Hager on the drive, almost got that to drop, but will draw a foul. Goes on Marcus Wilson. Lands and Villain back in. DeVries and Duel out, and I think we got timeout Tommies. Kyle Woodworth leading this huddle for Stu. Coach Hickey taking a moment to collect his thoughts. And you can bet not happy with Tommy's given up 50 points in a half. And some of the foul issues that they have. For some reason the online stats are not auto-updating for me here, so let's see if I can force them to update. Doesn't seem to want to work. Let's hope that comes back, because I want to be able to give those to you at least before halftime. Opportunity for the lead with 2 from the line. It's Hager. First one, no good. Opportunity to tie with the second one. And now's McGregor in for Hager. Wilson for Lands. 6 seconds to shoot. The lane looking for the cutter. Lands. 2.3 on the clock. It's over to Mount A. Tommy's looking for a tip. I didn't get it. Here's DeVries checking in for Lands. Duel in for Villain. Mount A's got a timeout. They're going to burn it. Tied at 52. Mount A could have a lead at half if they can get something in this final 2.3 seconds. And I'm just going to try to reset my entire browser here, see if I can get the stats to work again. The online stats appear to be stuck at 42-38 right now for STU. On at least in my computer, my phone. Let's hope that fixes itself at half. Had similar problems in one of the games here last weekend against SJ as well. Did happen to notice when I was looking at the stats, UKC with a lead on Holland in the fourth quarter in what looks to be a incredibly low scoring game, 47-39 into the fourth. We're already both teams over 50 here, and we're still in the first half here. Mount A gets a shot off. It doesn't go. We go to halftime. Tied at 52 here on Sport Is For Everyone Day at St. Thomas. We'll say that tomorrow, while I think of it, the Tommies are collecting books, used or new, for local schools. You got any suitable books for schools, bring them along to the game tomorrow. Tommies will be happy to collect those and make sure they find a good home. 52-52 at half. I say come on back a couple minutes early. I'll hope that those stats are working so I can give them to you. If not, we can just chat about the game. See you about 2 minutes before halftime starts for that update. Hi fans, welcome back to the LB Gym. I'm Bill Gibson, you're watching Tommy's TV on YouTube, ACAA TV, powered by Sports Canada TV. That's a whole lot of TV, and none of it's on TV unless you're on your own TV at home, because we are streaming here in Fredericton. Entertaining first half, 52-52, Mount A and the Tommy men. The stats did come back, thankfully. First quarter, 25-29 Mount A. Second quarter, 27-23 Tommies. That ties us at 52. And, yeah, when I go in and look at the stats, the team stats have it 61-55 Mount A. So that's obviously broken. And now the individual stats, when I go look at those, I don't know if these are right based on that 52 whatever. I do see there's been a scramble at halftime around the stats computer, so there's something wacky going on down there for sure. And this one may have to be restatted. The online stats right now showing Monroe with 13 points, Marquette 7, Bora 6, Deverex 5, Hager 5, STU 4, and Wark 3. My mental math is not good enough to know if that's 52 or more. And the Tommies, Marcus Wilson 14, Lands 12, Villain 9, Eddie 6, Schulten 4, Littleton 2, and CJ Hansen 2. Does show Eddie with the 3 fouls, only shows Littleton having 1 foul. He's got, I'm sure, 3 now, I think. So the online stats, not to be relied on, particularly when I go look at the team comparison. It says a different number of total points than the score. So, yeah, I'm not even going to read you those. I will say I'll check back throughout the contest here and see if that's looking any better and give you pertinent updates. But we're going to go on the assumption that there's an issue somewhere in the system. They are doing the online stats for sure. It could just be a gremlin somewhere. Not sure what's going on, but check those after the game and then maybe check them again next week to see if they've been updated, because you can go in, you can rescore and do the updates. Underway here, second half, Tommy's ball. Back to their starters with Villain, Eddie, Littleton, Wilson, and Hansen. Inside Eddie. Doesn't get that one to go. And here's Hager. Right to the rim. He can't get it to drop either. Tommy's another miss, and it's Monroe. Pops away with the rebound. A miss from Marquette, the Mounties. Marquette, Monroe, Deverex, Hager, and Wark. They're their starting 5 from the game as well. Wark's going to get the foul on the shot of Wilson. I don't know if it's just me, but I'm not sure Wilson's taken. If Wilson shot the ball 8 times today, he's been on the ground 6 times after the shot. Yeah, if I trusted the stats, I could tell you how many times he shot the ball, but Wilson knocks down that first one. And the second. Tommy's first 2 points puts him up 2 here. First 2 points of the half puts him up 2. Keywords there, not their first 2 points, first 2 of the half. Deverex, turnover for Hansen. Little showtime there for Hansen. Just gets that one over the rim, lays it in, didn't try to get too fancy. The simple plays, that's I think what the Tommies need to get back to. Deverex rises. Can't get the 3. Wark on the board. Wark kicks outside. That was Hager on the miss. Ahead for Hansen. Tough degree of difficulty on the Hansen shot. Well defended by Monroe. And it's going to be Deverex or Mombriquette pick up the foul. Looks like it's going to be Mombriquette. Lance's first. We'll send Evan Villain to the line. Tommy's up 5. Mounties looking for their first score here in the third quarter. Warwick looking for it with 3 to get it. Warning to the Mountie bench. I didn't catch exactly what for. Must have been something said there. I think the Tommies don't like that was blown when they were pretty happy with the offensive set they had going on. Technical foul called, I think, on Ryan Chase, Mount A assistant coach, I thought I heard them say. Littleton will shoot it. So obviously at halftime the officials talked about something here and the chatter going back and forth. And now the Tommies with the free point on the board will inbound it right in front of the Mount A bench. Third team foul already on Mount A. That was questioned from the table. Wilson on the cut, can't finish the jam. And again, as I said earlier, get back to the simple play. The dunk would have been nice, and the layup would have been a 2 points on the board. The lane can't get it to go off the glass. Eddie crashes, but it's out of bounds off of the Tommies. Tommies plus 3, 7:20 to go here in the quarter. Hager on the drive. Called on the floor. Oh, foul on Monroe underneath. Well, we went from 5 black to 10 white on the foul. And referee Dave McGrattan says that's my bad, my fault. None of it was near the ball. I wasn't really paying attention to it. So now we've got a side inbounds instead of a baseline inbounds. Deverex missed wide to the right over to the Tommies after all that. Extra foul on C.J. Hansen in the middle of it somehow. Deverak's miss. A couple of Tommies fighting for the rebound. Is going to be out of bounds off of Monroe. I think it was Hansen and Villain both had the hands on it and ended up Monroe knocking it away. Oh, Littleton for the end one. If this is Haggard, it could be 4. Goes up as only 3 on 13. I thought he had 3 in the first half. Wark keeps the dribble alive. I was going to drive, kick, Deverak's. Deverak's back for Mombriquette. Ends up underneath for Wark, and Wark hit hard on the way up. Be a foul on Villain. Scholten, Duel, and Lands in for the Tommies. And it's not great about that foul, a third on Evan Villain, and it was also the very last moment of the shot clock as well. I think if they just played straight up defense, Warwick have been hard pressed to get a shot away. Certainly wouldn't have been a good shot. Second one doesn't drop. Eddie on the rebound off for Lands. Wilson was looking for Duel in the corner, and Duel was a little more on the wing than in the corner. Online team stats still look wonky. Game stats look okay. Three-pointer for Mount A. Wilson tries to answer. And that touches the support wire out of play. The paraphernalia above the rim. Bawara on the spin. Leaves Duel on the baseline. And Tommy's a violation on the inbound. Gives it right back to Mount A. Not one you see very often, but that was pretty obvious. Violation. Deverak's can't get it to go. Lands on a rebound. Wilson drives. Partially blocked by Monroe, but Monroe will pick up a foul. Mount A already over the limit here with 5 plus, so it would have been a shooting foul regardless. But bonus the rest of the way for the Tommies is what I'm trying to say. Wilson, good on the first one. Wilson averaging 20. If the online stats were right when I last just looked at it, it said 16. Now up to 17. And that would be 18 Lands with 10, lands with 12, Villain with 10. Mount A, it's Monroe 16, Bawara 8, Marquette, Warwick 7 each. Score for Marquette. Inadvertent horn there. Thought we were going to have a timeout, so did everyone on the court. Waiting to see who was calling it and waved off. I know Coach Hickey went to check the score sheet for something there, and maybe a little confusion as to whether he was calling a timeout or not from someone. Eddie for Schulten underneath. It doesn't drop. Out of bounds off of Monroe. Eddie with the finish underneath from Schulten. STU driving on Wilson. Officials converge here and have a little discussion. Ball ends up going over to the Tommies. Initial call was Mount A. Eddie out. Evan Villain in. Wilson left the layup short. Monroe rises, can't make the three-pointer off the dribble. Duel ahead for Villain. Villain to the bucket, nice soft touch, and that goes through. STU three rims out. Villain on the rebound. Sit on the floor and goes against Monroe. And another foul on Monroe. Gimby in for Wilson. Going to be the third one on Jonas. Tommy's up 5. Villain looking for a 6-point Tommy lead. Marquette on the rebound. Bawara high stepping his way in. He's going to draw a foul. And that's going to go on Lands. And it's going to be the third on River. We'll send Bawara to the line. Miss on the first. Bawara shoots at 78% clip coming into today. I do not expect him for a double miss here. Got it anyway. That would be the announcer's jinx. Sorry, Simba. Blame that on me. Lands gets one to drop through. Tommy suddenly up 7. We were tied at 52 at halftime. can't get the jumper to go. And a block on Monroe, and that's going to be 4. Hanson in for Lands. Powder in for Monroe. He's going to have to go to the bench with 4. It's been a whistle-filled contest here in the second half. Throughout the game, there's been a technical on both sides. Duel knocks that out off of Bawara. I think what's changed a little bit for Mount A here in this half, they've gotten away from what I thought really worked for them. Was a bit more ball movement. Even in the first half, when they get into that one-on-one type action, lots of talented players who can certainly win one-on-one battles, but when the ball's been moving, they've been sharing it on offense. That, to me, is when they've been their best. There's a STU. Can't make the 3. And again, that's one pass to the offensive end and then a shot. The lane, nobody stops him. He's just going to lay it off the glass. Tommy's up 11. Timeout, Mount A. Well, the Tommies, 22-11 this quarter for this 11-point lead. Team stats I still don't trust because the points don't look right. Individual stats for Mount A: Monroe 16, Montbriquet 9, Bawara 8, Wark 7. Tommies, Marcus Wilson 18, Evan Villain 17, Riverlands 14, Jevin Eddy 8. Tommy's Villain and Eddy showing 3 online. Mount A, Wark showing 4. Hager showing 3. Monroe showing 3, but Monroe showing 4 on the board here. I know we had that weird one that was called a Monroe and then switched over to Hanson, so the board may be not correct on that 4 call. If I were Mount A, I'd want to confirm that with the score sheet. Make sure that he's got 4. Gimby on, not on the finish. Deverex on the board, off for Hager. Hager for Deverex. Deverex gets 2. Villain might have been blocked, might have just lost the handle on the way up, one of the 2. Hanson sparks up a little traveling music there. Sure what he's got on the playlist. I'm sure it's something a little more modern than my playlist, whatever it is. Montbriquet for 2 points. Stopping a score would be big here for Mount A. Hansen miss, rebound Villain. Villain bodies his way to the rim and he'll go to the line. Going to be a foul on Gabe Powder. Mounties for sure miss Ryan Norris and the 13.3 points per game that he adds here. Blaine knocks that through. And Villain comes out, Marcus Wilson back in. Another sub, it's Schulten for Littleton, 17.5 here on the clock, 9-point lead. Pressure from the Tommies. They break it into the hands of Bawara, who drives against 4 white shirts and gets a foul. Just not a lot of continuity to flow of play here in this third quarter. Bawara picks pocket of Wilson. And Bawara can't get it to go at the buzzer. That'd have been a big score because that'd have cut it to a 2-possession, 6-point game. Instead, it's an 8-point contest. (76-68) Tommies after 3. If the team stats are right, we've already shot 38 free throws in this one, 16 for Mount A, 22 for the Tommies. But again, I don't trust them because the point total there is 79-77 and it's 76-68, so something is off. I don't really trust that. Individual stats. Monroe still on the 16 for Mount A. Shows online stats with 3 fouls. I'm sure the board had up 4 here in-house. If I were Mount A, I'd want to have that confirmed. Montbriquet 11, Bawara 9. The Tommies led by Villain with 19, Wilson with 18, and Lands with 14. Let's see if we get some flow to the play in the fourth quarter. I'm taking just a short break and be back with play-by-play to start the quarter. Fresh 10 on the game clock. Deverex, Powder, Montbriquet, Hager, and someone hiding in my blind corner here by the Tommies bench. Mount A, it's Wark. Start the quarter for Mount A. Inside, Montbriquet gets another score. Tommies, Hansen, Villain, Eddy, Wilson, and Littleton. Eddy on the drive. Little too strong. Montbriquet fights for the board. Powder. Triple, too strong. Littleton pulls it up for the Tommies. Knocked out of bounds by Mount A. Thought for a second that was going to be Littleton. I was waiting for a call to go the other way. Hanson nowhere to go. 8 to shoot. Eddie with the spin move. Beautiful, beautiful move. Monbriquette tries a 3. There's Eddie with the finish at the other end again. Tommy's now up 10. Mentioned it off the top. One thing this Mountie club doesn't do well as a team is shoot the three-pointer. You get down in a position where they got to make some threes. That's not really their forte as a group. And there's a 3 from Hanson. Timeout Mount A. Tommies push the lead all the way to 13 just like that. Looking into the huddle there of the Mounties and Mitch Weber. Talking fast, but not super animated. Weber, second-year coach of Mount Allison. They're a team we have to think expected to be better than their record shows thus far with the additions they made in the offseason. Monbriquette, Hager, Bawara. Three guys with 3 former U-Sport level players. And there's Hager on the score. Mullane quickly with the answer. The Mounties got another push here. Under 8 minutes to play. Monroe would have needed a bucket truck to go up and get that pass from Hager. Hanson tried another 3, that rimmed out. Monbriquette on the board. Hager double team, forced to pick up the dribble. Reach called on Wilson. Wilson didn't really agree. Puts Hager to the line. Give Hager 8 with that make. Wilson too strong, rebound Monbriquette. Off for Hager. Monroe, Mombriquette. Mombriquette tries Eddy. Good defense, Jevin Eddy. Wilson for Hansen. And Eddy works inside. 6 points around the bucket this quarter for Jevin Eddy. Picked up those couple offensive fouls, impacted his amount of time on the court. Nice finish by Christian Hager. Villain tries a three, makes a three. Tommy's suddenly rolling. That was McGregor. I might have got McGregor and Mombriquette mixed up on the previous possession up court for Mount A as well. Wilson bounces that one through. Second one as well. Turnover Mount A. Wilson on the drive, scores off glass. Good hesitation move. Bawara gets one to go. Littleton sidestep three is good. Tommies have kicked it into overdrive here in this quarter. That's through the hands of Caleb Schulten on the outlet pass. This is a 21-10 third quarter start for the Tommies after a 24-16 fourth quarter. Silky shot for Monroe. That's a three. Lands tried to answer, couldn't. Schulten fighting for the board, but it's Mombriquette who comes away with it. Bawara, drive, rebound, putback is good. Monroe, another triple. Cuts the lead to 11. Mount A got a push here in the final 4 minutes of play. Lands fouled. Only going to be the second team foul on Mount A. Tommies only have one. Foul's going to go on Hager. That's going to be his fourth. Lands with the make. 13-point lead. Tommies deflect the inbounds, and it'll be a sideline inbounds for Mount A now. Bawara for Hager. Monroe tries another triple. That one doesn't go, hit the wire up top. Good call by the official to catch that. Just clipped it on the downward motion there. Officials say let's slow this up a little bit, make sure everyone is set. Lands with Amiris. Monroe on the rebound ahead. Bawara blocked by Wilson. Looked like he was hanging on something up there, though. Not sure how that wasn't called a goaltend or something. Wilson was hit definitely by Bawara on that shot. Go back and see that previous play. Looks like Wilson was defying gravity there somehow on that last play that ended up a block. It looked like he might have been hanging on to something up there. Like a sign from the Mount A bench that thought maybe so too. Might have just been the way it looked from here. I know it's partially shielded by the rim, but timeout on the floor, 99-86. Tommies down into the final few minutes of this one. As I said since half, I don't totally trust these online stats. But your game leaders, Monroe with 22. 6 of 10 3-pointers for Monroe. Bawara 13, Montbriquet 13. 9 boards as well for Montbriquet. 11 for Hager, the Tommies. Villain with 24 and 9 boards. Wilson with 22, that's more than his season average. Villain's 24, obviously more than his as well. Lands with 16, Eddie with 14 and 7 boards. Big difference in this, free throws by the online stats, Mount A, 10 of 18. The Tommies, 24 of 26. So shooting at 92% clip and getting to the line and plus 14 in terms of makes. It's a big difference in a 13-point contest. And another miss from Mount A on the line. Tommy's now up 12, 3 minutes to play in the fourth. Villain off for Littleton. Littleton in for Villain. Gets it to go off the glass. 101-87. Bawara's long shot doesn't go. Inside. Put back is Montbriquet. That's a 3 for Littleton. And timeout Mount A at 104-89. One's gotten away from the Mounties here in this fourth quarter. It otherwise been a little bit in the third, but it had been a fairly close contest with 52-52 at half. I think some of the Mountie foul trouble hurt them as well. Warwick, Haggard, Monroe. All dealing with some form of foul trouble for much of the third quarter at the very least. Mount A inbounds. Bawara for Hager. Monroe wanted the three. Instead, it's back around for Bawara. Makes a triple. Eddie for Littleton. Tommies content to run some time off the clock here with the 12-point lead. Littleton tries the three, fouled by Deverex shooting the three. Mounties wanted the leg kick out by Littleton. And Littleton misses the first one. Littleton, a fifth-year Tommy out of Markham, Ontario. 12.3 points per game. Oh boy, he would dearly love to leave his time here with the Tommies in his fifth year with a championship. He's been so close a couple times, have the Tommies and Vince. Taking away Deverex for Montbriquet. Montbriquet will get the end one. It's going to be a block on Giovannitti. Fourth on Eddie. And 1:28 to go, an 8-point contest. Montbriquet couldn't make the extra one. Eddie, against some pressure, finds lands. Inside for Eddie. The big man finishes for two. Very effective fourth quarter for Giovannitti. Flashing to the tin for two is Deverex. Good point output for Mount A, 96. But not when you give up 108. Make it 111 as Hansen knocks in a three. You bet the Tommies will be talking as well. Hey, they don't want to give up 96 points. They're going to say that's too many. Regardless that we scored 111. .14 on the shot clock, 48.2 on the game clock. Tommies are going to win this one. Teams are back in action tomorrow 1 hour earlier. Women's game at 1, men at 3 tomorrow. The other action around the conference starts earlier. The men's games go at 1 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. SJ at MSVU and UKC at Holland. 115.98. 115 might be the highest output of the Tommies all season long. We'll have to just get this one over half, shot clock off, and they can then just dribble this one out. Eddie will do so. Tommies 115, the Mounties 98 is going to be your final as time runs out here. Tight contest at halftime, tied at 52. Foul trouble did in the Mounties. I think if they go back and look at the tape, they'll find that they were their best when their ball was moving around, and it was less of the individual play. Tommies are a tough team, though. They really responded well in the second half, dealt with a little foul adversity of their own in Jev and Eddie. So the Tommies pick up another win to stay atop the conference at 8-1. The Mounties take a loss. Same two-time teams tomorrow, 3 o'clock here on ACAA TV. For everyone here at St. Thomas, including the always amazing Allison in the producer's chair, I'm Bill Gibson. Thanks for tuning in today. See you tomorrow. More action right here from the LB Gym.